Hey y'all, welcome into this edition of Off the Front Porch, our weekly podcast exploring the Southern experience. My name is Tony Ballman, and you are with me again on my journeys along the highways and the back roads of the American South. Out here where we discover intriguing personalities, breathtaking places, and happenings that remind us, well, just how it feels to be uniquely Southern. Today brings us close to the banks of the Ocmulgee River to a city in central Georgia with a history dating back to the dawn of human civilization, and today with a rhythm all its own, thanks to its longtime love affair with music. The land around Macon, Georgia has been inhabited by humans, forget this, nearly 15,000 years, but it was here that in the 1930s, Richard Wayne Penniman was born to a moonshiner / church deacon, where in the 1950s he became Little Richard, and also Otis stepped from gospel music into the world of rhythm and blues, where in the late 1960s and 1970s, a visionary couple of producers and a band of musical brothers and friends from Jacksonville, Florida, landed here to plant the seeds for a genre of music appropriately now called Southern rock. Macon is a town whose identity is so closely associated with music that its official tourism website and signs on the street here say this is where soul lives. But this vibrant city, 65 miles south of Atlanta, 130 miles west of Augusta, is so much more. And here to tell us more about this magical musical place is the Vice President of VISITMACON and also the Chief Marketing Officer here. My guest today on Off the Front Porch, MARISA RODGERS. MARISA, thank you for joining me.
Oh, thank you for having me.
Well, let's talk a little bit about VISITMACON. What exactly is VISITMACON?
Well, we're a destination marketing organization. Historically, that's what our organizations have been called. We kind of lean now toward a destination management organization. Our main goal is to bring in visitation. The way we're paid is through a hotel motel tax. So virtually, if you come here and you spend a night here, that's how we are not only funding ourselves, but 11 other of our entities or museums in town that function off of visitation.
So you, in fact, are kind of the gathering spot for people who, or the central point organization for people who come here to visit Macon for all the many things it is.
Exactly, yes.
Now, when I pulled up out here, I saw tour buses. Do you guys run a tour operation here, or you're kind of the base for independent tour operations?
A little bit of both. So obviously the tour market, group tour market is still very popular. So we do anything we can to accommodate groups and give them an itinerary, get them into attractions, hotels, anything that they need to make that visit successful. But also we own Rock Candy Tours, which is a more storytelling, tour company. We can do walking tours, driving tours, little experiences. There's so many that we offer that whatever your interests are or what will pique your interest, we have available. Well,
it's appropriate, I guess it's called Rock Candy Tours because this is, as I mentioned, the birthplace of Southern rock, but so much more. I mean, this Macon is associated so much with the names like Little Richard, Otis and that sort of thing. So talk to me, kind of paint a picture of what Rock Candy Tours is. If I'm somebody and I'm coming in here and I see Rock Candy Tours, what exactly is that?
Well, again, it's just a variation of different kinds of tours. We do have a walking tour called our Freebird and Night Owls walking tour, which takes you through all the locations in Macon that are walkable, that kind of go back to that music history. We have, a building where Greg Allman proposed to share, and you can go in that restaurant still and have a meal. There's alleys in Macon because what's very unique is all the alleys are activated as well here. And you can see where, Little Richard might have gotten into a little bit of trouble. He had a little bit of a past. So there's just so many stories worth telling, including Grant's Lounge, which is kind of where the tour usually starts or stops. It kind of moves around. But Grant's Lounge is a historic venue that existed halfway between the Capricorn Record office and Capricorn Studios. And so bands knew that if they got there and played, these executives would be walking back and forth through town, and they could catch their ear, including, at the time it wasn't called this, but it was Tom Petty and the Heartbreakers played for an entire week on that stage trying to get discovered.
At Grant's Lounge.
At Grant's Lounge. And it didn't work out for them, but obviously they did okay anyway. So
Well, I have to admit, I have had, last time I was here in Macon, I fully kind of did the geek out thing because I went over to Capricorn Studios, the Capricorn Sound Studios and Museum, which is now run by Mercer University. I went over there before they had even begun the renovation over there and did a radio show there. And I said that while I was here in Macon, I had to go in Grant's Lounge and have myself a PBR. So I did. I bounced into Grant's Lounge. I sat at the bar, and I don't even know if it's been a while since I've been out here, but the bartender actually was telling me, he had this fabulous beard, and he was telling me that he used to play in one of the bands down here. And I was like, all right, tell me stories about, because I thought initially I walked in, he had the beard, and I'm like, wait a second, this is an Allman Brother? And but that's the type of kind of that's the really type of spirit you get here in this town, is that the music is part of the fabric of this community.
It absolutely is. When even musicians come to town recently, since Capricorn has been revitalized and reopened, when they come to record, they want to do the Macon experience. And so one of the most special things about Macon is you just never know who you're going to run into in one of these venues. I mean, Newton Collier is a famous trumpet player that now lives in Macon. He played for Sam and Dave, and you'll find him, ponied up at Grant's Lounge anytime you're in town usually. So it's just really exciting, the connections that come from here, and how we still bring a sense of excitement to musicians who get to come here and see where it all started too.
Well, your building just is about music, basically, because right across the front of the VISITMACON Visitor Center, there's a keyboard.
Yes.
I love it. I mean, you know the moment that you come near this place that you see where soul lives, and you see the giant keyboard over the door, and then you start reading about this place. This should be a bus station that had a little bit of a famous history as well.
Yes, well, actually, right across the street was the Greyhound station. This was a bus station, but in that Greyhound station that was right across the street from where we are is where Little Richard was washing dishes and wrote Tutti Frutti. So it's every corner. We're just doors down from the TikTok Lounge, which was where Little Richard performed for many, many years, Miss Ann's TikTok Lounge. So it's just anywhere in here you're going to find a lot of character and all that music history. And we have, of course, who was born here, who started their career here, all of these things, but also so much music came out of Capricorn in the 60s and the 70s that it's amazing how much of American music and that sound came out of Macon.
But when you look at the list of artists that have performed at Capricorn, I mean, you've got not just the Allman Brothers, not just the Marshall Tucker Band, but you can go down the list. I mean, Paul Simon. I mean, you just go down the list of folks who have recorded in that. But Delbert McClinton, Livingston Taylor, James Taylor actually came down with Livingston Taylor, I recall. And did something at Capricorn. So when you walk into that place, and I have not been there since they've renovated it. We're going to do that for next week's show. But I have not been there since Mercer renovated it. But when I was there earlier, before when it was absolutely just desolate and had not been reclaimed, you could still, the sense of history in that place was palpable.
Yeah, it's very amazing the way it happened. The building itself over the years crumbled and kind of went into dilapidation, but somehow it perfectly preserved the actual historic Studio B. So or Studio A. So that's what's really exciting, is when you walk in there, everything's original. Everything is exactly how it was left, and somehow it just made it through the trials of time until this renovation happened and it reopened in 2019. And that's thanks to so many people around. Chuck Lavelle, now the music director for the Rolling Stones, lives right outside of Macon. He's a huge supporter, and he was part of that major project getting Capricorn reopened.
You brought that up. I mean, Chuck Lavelle, he has made his home here in Macon. He has the tree farm just outside of town. And again, he is one of those artists that so fell in love with the city that they continue to invest in the vibrancy and the vitality of Macon.
That's right.
Well, we've talked a bit about the music of Macon, and I think that's the thing that a lot of people in their minds, they play word association, Macon equals music, but there is so much more to this town. Kind of talk to me a little bit, if I'm somebody who has never been to Macon, Georgia. point me into some of the things that are not music related that I might want to come down here and would be something I'd go home and tell my folks about.
Well, I mean, the architecture here is astounding.
Yes.
So many decades and so many different types of architecture. We actually have more properties on the National Historic Registry than even Savannah or Charleston.
Really?
Which is just something no one expects out of Macon, but it's because of the preservation that happened. During the wars, when most of Georgia cities were at least sustained some damage, Macon somehow got away preserved. The river got blocked. They couldn't get troops up. Only one cannonball was fired from across the river and hit one house, and it didn't even explode. So that house you can visit. It's called the Cannonball House. The Hay House is the Palace of the South. It's a beautiful, just astounding 8-story home that was the first of its kind in Georgia to have electricity and running water and all these different things that were so, just ahead of its time. And you can still go and tour that place. So there's so much to do. But then, of course, we go back even further and we get into the Ocmulgee Mounds. Ocmulgee Mounds is a National Historical Park, but it is also where the Muskogee Creek civilization was born. There has been architectural finds that date it back 17,000 years of continuous human habitation. It's just really amazing. There is an earth lodge where you walk in and there's a floor that was the meeting space because tribes would come in and meet here on neutral ground. This was more of a capital city. So that is something that's really exciting. And over the years, of course, in American history, there's a lot that you don't want to talk about. And one of those is when it was discovered, Ocmulgee Mounds was discovered. It was because they were building a railroad right through this land that never should have been touched. But that stopped everything and turned it into one of the largest archaeological digs that has ever happened in the United States.
Really?
Yes. So it is a very special place, but what makes it even more special is that through the many years of advocacy and the county's support, there's a bill in the Senate and the House right now to become the 64th National Park, the first national park in the state of Georgia, and the first national park to ever be co-managed between the indigenous removed tribe and the National Park Service.
So there is ongoing a relationship between descendants of the indigenous tribes and the current government.
Yeah, that is something we've been working on very hard for the last 5 to 10 years, is forging that relationship and letting them know that we want them to come back and manage, because we know this is their land, it is not ours. And acknowledging that. We've even gone so far as to redesign all of our street signs throughout our downtown to where it has the English and the Muskogee Creek language translation. And that's just representation. Their flag hangs above our city hall. It hangs at our Macon-Bacon baseball stadium. There are many art projects and artists in residencies and anything, chef in residencies that we try to do to bring that culture back to our city.
That's amazing, because even though this is a city that has so much of its identity tied to popular music, the very fact that it's not just an afterthought, it seems, but it seems like it's an active effort to celebrate the culture that, as you said, I said 15,000, you said 17,000, that's been here for all those many thousands of years. Mm-hmm. That's groundbreaking.
Yeah, that's older than the pyramids. It's older than a lot of history around the world.
But it's groundbreaking that this city and that you and different organizations here are saying, no, this is an active, living, breathing part of our culture now. It's not just dusty history on a shelf.
That's right, yes. And we're doing everything we can to continue that and just keep building on it over and over again. But, we also believe there's a connection between the music and that history, because we believe this earth was imbibed with the beats. That music has lived since then, and all of their cultural practices, and just over the years, something's in the water. And so we truly believe music is just in the fabric of this place.
All of a sudden, I've got another story idea coming up. I'm going to come back to Macon, because I am coming back in it's a few weeks, I am going to, they're setting up an opportunity to talk with somebody over at Ocmulgee at the mounds, and so I'm looking forward to exploring that because I'm a history guy. As a matter of fact, you talked about the oldest or the largest archaeological dig in American history. I just finished a novel where an archaeologist is one of the central figures, so I'm full nerdy when it comes to that type thing, so I definitely am going to have to come back for that. And then let's talk about, it's in the name, the Ocmulgee River. So many cities have leveraged their proximity to bodies of water. How much of that exists in Macon?
I mean, some. It is our goal as a city to do more. The Ocmulgee River is obviously the reason that the civilization was built here is because those nations built up everything around bodies of water, and the Ocmulgee River was very special. It does have, a flooding issues. So what we've done as a city is we've activated the Ocmulgee Heritage Trail, which runs the along the river. Amerson River Park is a beautiful public park which is right on the river where you can put in one area and take out in another area.
There's an Otis Redding statue there, isn't there?
There was. It was moved now to our downtown to be in front of the new Otis Redding Center for the Arts.
Beautiful.
And the Zelma Redding Amphitheater. So he sits downtown now, but he used to be on the river.
Yeah, that was that. But I remember going down there the last time I was here. It's like I got to see the Otis Redding statue, and it was right there at the river. So that's a resource that the town fathers and the different partners are actually continuing to leverage further here in Macon.
Mm-hmm. There's about to be another expansion on that trail. So the more we can do and to activate both sides of the river, we're definitely working on.
That's going to be exciting. I cannot wait to see that happen. Of course, when people come to visit, they obviously want to put things into their mouth, and so talk to me a little bit about the culinary scene here in Macon. If I'm not just a music fan, but I'm a foodie, am I going to be satisfied with Macon?
Yes, I mean that you can't come here and not enjoy some food because it's soul food, of course, which is just central to what we are, but also the diverse options are really astounding. You can't have a bad meal in Macon, but some of our famous places that you just can't miss would be like the Rookery. The Rookery is celebrating its 50th anniversary this year. The burgers are themed based on our music or Jimmy Carter or, all these different storylines of Macon. But it's also, a stage where Widespread Panic used to perform at the beginning on their New Year's celebration years and years ago. So there's so much history in that building. Or H&H, which of course is the just epicenter of soul food in all of Georgia. I would argue it's the best there is.
Fat Boy here is going to eat there after our interview, by the way.
Yeah, and that particular restaurant was just, ahead of its time. It's two black women that opened a restaurant in the middle of the South, which was kind of unheard of. And when the Allman Brothers moved to town, they could not go many places to eat because they were an integrated band. So they would go to H&H, but they were poor, and so they ended up trying to share off one plate of food, and Mama Louise saw that, and she said, "I'm going to feed you boys." And it formed a lifelong friendship to where she had a seat on their tour bus and traveled the world cooking and everything for them. Just that's the kind of special things that were going on here, but also still exist. You can still go sit there and eat in that space.
The last time I was here, I had to make a point of going to H&H Cafe and sit there at that table, and the whole time I'm dining, I was thinking, yeah, this could be the very table that one of the Allman Brothers sat at, or So, and it was great. It was great food. It was fantastic food. Now, again, as a bit of a foodie, I also like some fine dining. Are there places where I can just blow my mind on a culinary level here in Macon?
Absolutely. Whatever you're looking for, we have. I would recommend Dovetail. It's a very farm-to-table experience. They are about to expand. It's phenomenal. Third and Cherry is a new restaurant that's in downtown, and everyone just raves about the quality of that food. Or you can go to Natalia's, which is in North Macon, but it's historic. It was opened by a woman named Natalia, obviously. It's Italian, and it still exists. It's been around for I don't know how many years. It's very well loved in this town, and that's obviously something else I would recommend. But there's new restaurants opening all the time, and so many just different variations that anything you're looking for, you're going to find. I mean, you want the best wings in town, go to Piedmont Brewery and Kitchen. They're just phenomenal, and again, every beer they make is music themed, so everything comes back to that.
Okay, so we've covered food, we've covered music, we've covered history, we've covered nature and the outdoors. Got to land on sports now. I mean, you mentioned the Macon Bacon. That's your minor league baseball team here.
Yes.
And then driving in, I saw the home of the Macon Mayhem. You have hockey here.
That's our hockey team, yes.
That's exciting. Talk to me a little bit about what's going on here in Macon for folks who are sports fans.
I mean, there's sports everywhere, but especially our colleges. Macon is home to 4 different colleges, which is a lot. But Mercer University, of course, their football program is just killing it. We actually will host ESPN's Week 0 here this year.
Really?
So, if you want to go see some sports, you're going to find it. We also have Wesleyan College, which is a all-female college that just added every sports program they could, to be such a young college in all of those sporting categories, they're doing just amazing things over there. So, it really just depends on what you're looking for. We also bring in a lot of tournaments. Being in the central part of the state, we attract a lot of, the state plays, state basketball. We also are the center of the pickleverse, and what that means is we have more pickleball courts than probably anywhere else, but we are home to the world's largest indoor pickleball facility called Rhythm and Rally. It is a renovated mall space that was turned into 32 courts on 2 different levels. And that's because in Georgia, the weather's unpredictable, especially the heat of the summer. And we wanted to give our community a place to play, but also bring in massive pickleball tournaments. And that economic return has just been incredible for us.
I'm trying now, being one of these people who loves tourism, loves travel and everything, I'm thinking, largest pickleball space in the world, all this music. I got to see, there's got to be a pickleball music there across over.
I mean, the name, Rhythm and Rally, yes.
Oh, there's that Rhythm and Rally.
And not to mention the fact that it's right across the parking lot from our brand new amphitheater. So, I mean, there's a lot of exciting things happening here, and especially just the revitalization. It's very exciting. Our downtown, again, I mentioned how historic the downtown is. But just last year, it was named a Great American Main Street because of all the work that has gone into revitalizing it as a place to, work, live, stay, play, all the things.
It is. It's a beautiful town, and it does have it has that classic feel, but at the same time, when you come here, when you spend some time here, it feels like a very cosmopolitan small city. Mm-hmm. It really is. It's a fantastic place to be. Well, talk to us a little bit more. We're in the final few minutes here. Talk to me a little bit more about Visit Macon. All right, I'm somebody listening to this podcast. I have never been to Central Georgia. Anywhere. I've flown through Hartsville International Airport, but never gotten off a plane, whatever. Mm-hmm. Paint a picture of how someone who has never been to Macon, Georgia, would come and experience Macon. Or, as you say, visit Macon.
Yes. Well, your first stop should be our website. It's visitmacon.org. And on that website, we've given you all the tools to plan. You can like all the attractions that sound appealing to you, print out a solid itinerary, get some ideas from itineraries we offer. You can find transportation options. Yes, we are only 90 minutes away from an international airport, which makes it really easy access into Macon. But we also have 2 direct flights now into Macon, into our Middle Georgia Regional Airport, direct to Fort Lauderdale and Baltimore. Okay. So if you so desire, you can get here immediately.
If you're listening in Washington or Miami, come to Macon.
That's right. That's really the resource place to get started, and book your tours. So you can take any of those rock candy tours. I mentioned the music tour, but there's also agritourism that takes you to the peach farms and places to do things like that. There's also Macon Macabre if you're into the scary, the spooky. We've got a tour for that. So yeah, just whatever you're looking for. A Kegs and Stills Trail if you're really into craft beer. And we have a phenomenal new distillery here which plants a longleaf pine tree for every bottle sold, which means we're giving back to this ecosystem as well.
That's beautiful, and it's interesting because in the drive-in, I was just noting that drive down, there was nothing for miles but these beautiful pine trees and everything. And then as I got closer to town, so. You mentioned you have a tour specifically for agritourism or for agriculture. Mm-hmm. Yeah. To celebrate the fact that you're in Central Georgia and that there is an agricultural culture here.
Yeah, we're surrounded by peach farm. I mean, it's Georgia peaches. But within a short driving distance from Macon, if you're staying here, you can go to those farms. They have annual strawberry picking, pecans. There's so many things that are grown in Georgia, and Georgia's always been known for its agriculture. But we make sure that we can get you on those experiences too, if that's something you're interested in. Well, and then go to Dovetail and eat farm to table, and it's a whole experience.
Come for the music, stay for everything else. That is fantastic. Well, we are here in Macon, Georgia, where soul lives, and here at Visit Macon. Come by, please, and visit with the folks here. I want to encourage you to listen next week as we're going to continue our visit into Macon, Georgia. We're going to come back next week and talk with the folks over at Capricorn Sound Studios and Museum about the work that Mercer University has done over there to revitalize and actually kind of create it as an incubator for new music while honoring the history of the music that was recorded in that building. MARISA Rodgers, thank you for sitting with me today here at Visit Aiken, a beautiful facility. And I got to ask one more time as I'm going to walk out the door here. Do you still have the pianos around town?
I don't think so. I think those have all been set aside for now. But there's all sorts of other things.
That's what. Well, last time I was here, I couldn't resist. I am playing the pianos, and they were just kind of paint this picture. They were painted pianos that were all over town, and so I was thinking I got to play something before I go over to Capricorn. But MARISA Rodgers, thank you so much. She is the Vice President of Visit Macon and the Chief Marketing Officer. Thanks for spending some time with us here. I want to encourage you to follow us on Facebook, subscribe to our YouTube channel, follow us on Instagram, and of course this podcast available on all of your favorite podcast platforms. From Macon, Georgia, this is Tony Ballman, and join us next week as we remain right here in the Central City of Macon, Georgia, here on Off the Front Porch.